Okay, one-on-one, take one.
Okay, so what is considered a successful IPO? Because I think about it a little bit differently, right? There's a lot of folks that think about the pop or think about the process and how it priced. When I tend to think that any IPO is a successful IPO, just because they're so hard and they take so long to complete, that everybody should feel like a great success at the end of this. But I know there are other ways to measure this.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think from a pure capital markets perspective, I think most would agree that an effective IPO is when you've executed the transaction according to your timeline at a strong market price.
Yeah, and that's not to say gauging the public's interest is also not important, right? IPOs that are oversubscribed can suggest investor confidence and strong demand for the company's stock post-transaction.
All right, next question. What is the Deloitte One Team approach?
I could take this one. Basically, it's an end-to-end solution for companies looking to IPO. We help companies plan, prepare for, and navigate the IPO process in the most efficient way possible. And the same team is able to stay with you after you become a public company. What are some of the differences between a biotech IPO and a tech IPO?
Well, the why behind a biotech IPO can be very different from a tech one. Biotechs are measured by clinical trial progress and developmental milestones, and because they operate from a loss position, the metrics and KPIs that investors may be used to, they're completely different.
Totally different. For tech, it's going to be all about revenue growth. There are going to be other metrics that are going to be very important, like EBITDA and path to profit. But at the end of the day, it's going to be about revenue growth, which is quite different, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So here's one. How can companies test their IPO readiness?
Well, Deloitte offers a complimentary IPO readiness self-assessment tool.
IPO Self-Assess.
That's right. That can help companies determine if they're ready to begin the process. So that's a great place to start.
Nick, here's one for you. What challenges do companies face post-IPO?
Oh yeah, that's a question we get a lot. In many cases, companies get so focused on becoming public that they forget to stop and think about what's going to be required of them after they become public. The needs of companies and what's required of them post-IPO can vary greatly. Post-IPO, the focus is on SEC reporting, timely closing of the books, SOX implementations, and then continuing to be able to forecast and tell your story to the street.
So, any favorite advice for companies that are considering an IPO?
Well, I'll start with a simple one. Start acting like a public company before you become a public company.
Yeah, and mine is always start early. Work with your advisors to create an IPO readiness roadmap and do the work to prepare. It's never too early to start.
Mine is going to be more of a question than it is advice. I would ask, are you sure you want to do this? Because the changes that come with an IPO are significant, both positive and negative, but impossible to ignore. And if you have any hesitations, take some time to think it over. But if you think you're ready, then let's go, because it's a lot of fun and we've got a lot of work to do.